Doing? How's everyone doing? Welcome to winter. Welcome to winter. We have the winter solstice that's coming up on the 21st. My name is Celeste. Welcome to All Things Consciousness and Source Creator. My passion is to talk about Source. I've written a few books about Source Creator with regards to the topic of ascension, because ascension is a very sacred topic. It's a very sacred journey that is very sacred beings that is offered throughout the species of the multiverse, those that choose to align with light and play with light. You do have options of ascension in all that you are as far as your soul's progression. I've just written a few books. Those are the covers of them. The covers of my first book. That's the third edition, because I just had to keep editioning it. Editioning it. That's my second book. I think my second book has only gone through, oh my God, two. Yeah, so I guess both of them I went through 3 editions. I'm a little OCD. So my fourth book, I'm gonna fly through my fourth book. My fourth book is called The Alliance with Light, and it's going to encapsulate pretty much, it's gonna be a more condensed, hardcore book from the first. The first I'd heard, although it has many great reviews, I'm so grateful. Those that have read my books, can you please go on the Amazon and Barnes & Noble and put reviews? I'm very happy that my books have the wonderful reviews that they do. So I'm very, very pleased, and I'm very grateful that it's helped those people that are looking for something that is can break down the strange and very organic and very natural multidimensionality that we start harmonizing within our natural lives, and shifting from a very 3D perspective to a very 5D perspective. There's a lot of groundwork that we need to make up. And so my book 1 was about all the things that allowed me to awaken, to understand the awakening process, to understand ascension and the body that we exist within in the old world, what we're taught and told and shown, and then what truly we start shifting into as we become awakened in greater consciousness and start harmonizing and working with light. And so my fourth book, The Alliance with Light, will be kind of an encapsulation of, the first book is very chunky. It's a lot to work through. And there's lots of codes in my book number 1. So if you read book number 1, you might have to read it a couple of times, because there's a lot in there that your consciousness, or your cognition, especially if you're more logical, your cognition can really soften into a more multidimensional perspective. And it does take a few reads of higher consciousness books before you start getting that soft shifting of realities. Because when you're moving into multidimensionality, it's not so much of the logical mind, because multidimensionality is not logical. It's rather illogical. So it depends on the processing patterning of the brain, and really allowing the brain to soften so that you can create new neurons and synaptic pathways that are not logical. And so that's the change, and that's the shift. And sometimes if you're so patterned in being a logical thinker, finding the fastest route to A to Z, we want to maybe soften and just open up to the mysteries and magical essence of Source Creator. And that's why you do want to do the dodecahedron, and be involved in the dodecahedron, because it's not going to, multidimensionality is not going to take you in a straight line. It's not going to be the straight line. You're going to be going from here to there, to there, to there, because sometimes you need those expansive perspectives of the contraction and the expansion, especially for healers. If you're going to be a healer, if you're going to be a teacher, if you're excavating even new worlds, you're going to have to need that cross connection of expansion and contraction, the inhale and the exhale, and really understanding what that means at a deeper level, at a more philosophical level. This is where philosophy really assists in ascension and multidimensionality, because it allows you to step into that eclectic thought and softening thought, presupposing, if you will. It's not necessarily a fixed equation. Some of the experiences are, yes, obviously, if you put out a lot of hate, you're going to get that energies back. But what we're talking about is the actual creation process. And the creation process, you want to have that. This is why my book covers are, this is what multidimensionality is to me. If I'm given a vision or an imprint, I might be given this one specific spot here within the field of energy. Although I see and I feel the field of energy, but this is pulling me in to be expressed and exposed. So then it's up to the reader, it's up to the conduit, it's up to whatever clairs you're working with to expose this energy that you're being drawn to. And so that's what I do as a conduit, as a reader. I'm given the whole story, just as your chakras are. Your chakras in the Akasha is like a whole library. But you might only want that one book right there that downloads, say, in aspects of the brain. right? You might only want that one section of the library. This is where your consciousness will go piercing into. This is what I do as also a light worker and a crystal, is I pierce my light into these very dark places for them to break up, which is what's happening right now. All of the corruption and all of those cults and the sex rings and all of those things, they're being broken up right now because the light was pierced into it. They weren't getting away with what they thought they were getting away with. So this is what I do as a reader. This is why the multidimensionality and understanding multidimensional and how to start softening into multidimensionality. Multidimensionality is something you can't logic your way around. You have to just soften into it and allow source and your energies and your soul, because multidimensionality, you're felt as the soul of the dodecahedron. You might have an aspect here that you've harmonized and you've integrated that might be feeling, it might be your Syrian aspect of cetacean sound. This is a perfect example. When I talk to cetaceans, I hear sounds with them and I'm making sounds in my higher consciousness. It's not necessarily coming through my mouth, although I can make those sounds as well. But my higher consciousness is making sounds to the cetaceans on the planet here that are also connected to the planet Sirius, because much of our cetaceans are from Sirius. And I've seen them come through portals. And somebody would say, well, how come nobody else saw it? How come nobody else saw the portals? Hello, beautiful goddess. Hello, gorgeous. These are multidimensional portals, and these multidimensional portals are cloaked. For those that have the eyes to see, like myself, as we said, if your eyes are trained, if your inner eye, if your consciousness is trained to 5D consciousness, you can see all of these things. Somebody that only has 3D eyes is very logical, that only wants to see the equation from A to Z. They're only going to see this. Right? As the multidimensional seer can see all of this. It's just up to what energy am I being drawn to attach with first. So if say you come to a healing and your guides, you're coming to a healing and you have all of these things that you want looked at and you want honored and you want stories around, and you're just going to say whatever you can read, right? But say right now you're going through a really tough time and you're not looking at a part of the ego that wants you to surrender so that you can open up into something grander. There's going to be a wound here that was directly linked to surrender. Your ego mind might think that, okay, well, I want to look at this over here because this new guy that I met, what is that all about? And your higher self will say, no, this needs to be dealt with first. So although I see all of this, that's not like I've always told people, I don't do love readings. I never have done love readings. I don't do them. It's just not, because the whole intention is for you to focus on you. Who are you? And then everything else will fall into place. So don't ever, I always say don't ever, but most people do. Don't ever do love readings. It's a waste of your money. It's a waste of your intention. Your intention should be, what is the next on my list to be healed? What is the next on my list for me to focus on? What is it that I need to focus on right now, thought, word, and deed, and soul and spirit, so that I can harmonize into a greater version of me? Why would you want to focus your attention on somebody else when you could be manifesting even a closer version of somebody that's meant for you, that's going to be brought to you by spirit? All you have to do is just focus on being you. So there's a lot of backwards thinking in the collective reality, just because there hasn't been a lot of connection with higher light intelligence. There's no light intelligent wisdoms that we talked about, but we're entering it right now. So this is why I wanted to say, when you're operating in your clairs and you have all of this energy to be aware of, when we're moving through multidimensionality, although all of this energy is now becoming aware in your field, and you can see and you can hear these different things in your field because you have many clairs, many gifts. But now you're going to become refined in practicing your daily gifts, because you don't want to hear everything. You don't want to be overwhelmed with it, especially in the beginning. I remember when they first turned my gifts on, they turned it on, and I had to, like, every day, okay, you got to turn that down. You can turn this up, but you got to turn that down. I can feel this, but you got to put that away over there. You got to veil that altogether. I don't want to see that, right? So there's certain those of us that, and I've said when people were doing their sex orgies and trying to harvest off my energy, and with children being trafficked and things like that, and all of the things that go on behind closed doors and in tunnels and things like that, I can see that stuff. And so I do have to tell my teams, for today or for this session, can you turn down this and turn up this? Can you, like I was telling this friend of mine, a prospective date, and I was saying, if there was to be ever a situation that would garner us into an intimate situation, just know that I can absolutely see what goes on in bedrooms. And so it's nice if you could have that cleansed because I'm not too good to company after the fact, right? I can't, I'm kind of, taken up by the images that I've been seeing and shown, because they're energy imprints. It's an imprint in the space, right? Like everything is an imprint. And that energy stays there until it's cleared. It just becomes a part of the space. This is why we've always said, clear your spaces, right? Clear the energy. If you have a big family fight in one room, clear the energy and make sure everybody comes back to hug. Make sure everybody comes back to saying, this is what I love about you. Thank you for sharing that. This is what I love about you. I'm so sorry I hurt your feelings. Come back and honor that space with love again. It's very important that we get used to understanding the flow of energy, and where energy is left stays there. And it becomes stagnant, and rooms become stagnant, and you get that stuck energy there. And this is why people get really sick in their space, because they're not changing and the energy is not changing. You need to flow that energy. So it's really important that we understand that when you're given these gifts and skills and talents that are opening up, and when you have been working with your teams and getting that relationship with your teams and the intimacy with your teams, like I did, I say to my teams daily, you know, my team said, one day I said to them, I said, okay, I'm going to go to a Starbucks and I want to practice, because this is when I was really, really sensitive, and I didn't go out. I was holding myself captive, if you will, because it was so overwhelming. And I said, okay, we're going to do a test and we're going to go into Starbucks and I'm just going to sit and have coffee and we'll just see how it goes. And it was a busier Starbucks. And so I went into this Starbucks and I was standing in line and I was saying, okay, I wish this, I was starting to get anxious, right? Because I do have social anxiety, just because I feel everything. And I was in the lineup and I was talking with my teams, and they were very careful with me. They're always very careful with what I feel, because I do have implants as well, so that I can feel and they can feel me. They're right in tune with me, right? And so I was in the lineup and it was at Christmas time, and I was there for a couple of minutes. I was saying, okay, I can do this. I'm softening into it. And then all of a sudden, you know, this one or two negative people came in, and it was like their energy fields were just pushing at me like this, right? That's how negative their energy fields were. So my anxiety started to get up, because when you're feeling that energy of aggression and hate, your fight or flight responses, you know, go up. So then I had to control it. Is you have to manage your gifts and skills and talents. You have to manage your sensitivities until your teams are working with you, and you can tell your teams, okay, can you turn that down, please? So part of that was my clairsentience. My clairsentience is that I just know what I know. I can feel and I know everything. I just don't know how I know, I just know. If somebody approaches me, I sense that energy as a vibration. So that energy is angry. That's an angry energy. This energy is very fluid and happy and joyful. Energy is a very light. So this is how it feels to me. That's my clairsentience, because all of my clairs are on. My clairs are turned on. So I could be standing in the line, and although I'm having a clairaudient experience with the cetaceans, I also have somebody that just walked by the lineup and they were having a fight with their girlfriend, and I felt the aggression and the hate. I felt the anger. And when you're an empath like myself, you actually feel people hitting each other, because that's how the intention is. The intention is, I just want to hurt her, right? And that's how it feels to us. So that was a very interesting experience. So I implore all of you, work with your teams in this way and take yourself little step by little step. If you know you're this sensitive, especially with the children, especially with autistic children, they have so many clairs. And work with them little one by one, and just say, let's work on clairsentience today. Let's work on clairaudience today, so that you know which one of their gifts are more powerful. Because again, you don't want them to go into environments that is going to hurt and harm them, because nobody's teaching these children how to protect and how to honor and how to work with their guides to turn certain gifts down. And so because all of my gifts were turned on all at once, you know, I said to my teams, okay, well, let's go into Starbucks and we'll practice, and I'll get a little bit more at being comfortable around people. Because they did say that they gave me a few experiences that, you know, you're going to be around a lot more people. You're going to have to get used to talking in bigger crowds. So let's do some practicing. And so that was just a few of those experiences, and all of my clairs were working at once. So I got to the table after ordering my drink, because we were in a lineup for quite a while. And I got to the table, and I'd started writing in my journal just to start working that energy. So I'm giving you an example of what a fully turned on ultra human feels like. And working with your teams every day, working with your higher self every day, working with your teams every day, preparing yourself every day. When you're out in public, how to work with the different clairs, how to know which ones you really want to work with. Like, I love working with clairaudience. I love clairaudience. Then when I'm doing my channeling like this, then, and I'm doing my healing sessions, then I want my clairsentience, I want everything turned on, because there's nothing more spectacular than having that clairsentience where God just presses that imprint, and you can see what God wants you to see. And that's when I'm in my channeling states, and God does put that imprint on, and I just see something that God wants me to see. It's like opening up the Akashic library. I'm opening up a book, as we said in our little example here. This is the all Akashic library, but maybe God only wants you to see this little prick, or maybe the higher self of somebody standing before you wants you to see this wound and the energy experience that it's connected with. But the person that's standing before you wants you to come over here because they just met somebody new, but they want you to tell you what the precognition is on the date they just met. And this is why I never talk about love I never do love readings. When you stand before me, it's all about you. Why are you so concerned about somebody else when you should be looking at this wound? Go back to you. This is where the disconnect is. This is where the disconnection is. And then it's my job to start, to guide the client back into self-love and self-care. Because love and partnerships are always going to be there. You never have to worry and stress about love not being there. Love will always be there. Love is always just a constant. What you're seeking is not love. You're seeking the attention to feed the wounding. It's not love. Love is always there. Love is just always there. It's like source. Source is love. It's always here. It's just a given. Because if love was not there, none of us would be here. None of us would be here if there was no love. Love is infinite and eternal. It's always here. How you're not experiencing it, how you're not expressing it, how you're not exploring it is based on your beliefs and your perspectives. It's always here. Always. There are people in the class right now, there are people listening now in Future Now Moments, they had no idea that they have an aura. They had no idea that their emotional field is the closest to the body. This emotional field, which healers look at, which we are drawn to first, is the emotional field. It is the one that operates right at the skin of the body. Why is that? Well, Source knows what Source is doing. Source is the magician of all life. Source creates humans so that there's various fields before you get to the emotional field, because the emotional field is the one that protects your body. And for us to sustain ourselves in a physical human body, this emotional field, once it gets so damaged, that's when the wounding starts. And that's when those of us that are more sensitive, although we're perfect and pristine on the inside, we still have to walk around in our physical bodies and our encasing so that we can be of help to others. But because the outer is so damaging, it still affects our physical body. And that's why those that get in groups and gangs and stuff and do intentional malice and voodoo, it's very, very detrimental. And then you have shadow governments that intend, covert, subtle, sound waves that are very detrimental to the planet and to all life. How they've ever been allowed to get away with it is beyond all recognition. They actually infuse sound waves that are negative and disruptive, and they want people to maintain distraction and danger. And those that are super, super sensitive tap into that energy because they're not taught and told about light, intelligent wisdoms. They're not taught and told about the things that are in the realms that they can pay attention to. And this is why, again, I can go back and forth. This is how you know I'm a conduit. I can go back and forth in a million different ways. Those of anybody that thinks that they can stand in and be like or mirror like or compare or have any competition, it's impossible. Because any one person standing there, if we take an autistic person anywhere on the rainbow, because every autistic person is different, this autistic person might have a clair and a gift that is just clairsentience or clairaudience, and they have it. That is one of their gifts on the planet because they're meant to absolutely bring new wisdoms and intelligences about insect sensitations that are highly audible. That's how we connect with them. That's how they all connect in the ocean, right? Water is a great transmitter of energy. That's why we have the Christ consciousness in the water body, because it allows us to get the crystalline codes right away. It goes to every aspect. So there's perfect design in everything. There's perfect design in everything. But if you're not a conduit, you're saying you're a conduit, you're saying you're this, you're saying you're that, you wouldn't be able to connect with all the things that I can connect with. I can give you 100 different examples based on one picture, And I can bring it in so that no matter who is listening in front of me, whether they've just started to awaken, whether they've just found out about psychic abilities, whether they've just found out about, liking cetaceans, I can gear one story as best I can to be the most expansive that I can, so that I can touch the soul codes of everyone on how come you're a feeling being? How come you are an emotional being? How do we have all of these fields that are set up within us, and how do we take care of it so that I'm not going to detriment my body, and I'm not going to want to get myself out of my body and want to not be here in my body because it's just so overwhelming for me, and nobody's caring for me and nobody's loving for me because they're all in a state of disconnection. So I can bring the core issues of what's happening with humanity, and we can bring it into a class so that everyone can see. We are all multidimensional beings. Where each and everyone is at is unique unto itself, up to the trillionth degree. Trillionth, even greater than that, because what you have existing in one human being is into the trillionth. Molecularly, cellularly, where this being has been psychologically, because you carry the psychology of your psyche. You have to heal 51% of your psyche woundings. So again, it's such a dynamic, important, sacred experience, right? The person next to you may only have one Claire gift. They might only have a third eye. So they're going to see a picture completely different, and it's meant to. That's godliness. This is how come I love talking about God. I love bringing the energy of God to the forefront. Source Creator is just magnificent on how Source and this one being are meant to have their infinite trajectories and journeys, and the sojourns that go in and out of the valleys and the crevices and all of these things that you're meant to experience. You're meant to experience the whole emotional gamut of the emotional experience. And your third eye is a beautiful tool and gift that can allow you to see what no other can see. So practice your gifts with very great richness, like you're moving into a whole new palette of colors of your paint box, right? You just lifted up this paint kit and it's like, wow, I didn't realize I had another 78 colors that you didn't even think existed. That's multidimensionality. That's consciousness. Your gifts allow you doors and windows into new consciousness. How does God see and feel? You're becoming godly. You can only become godly, and this is a fact, write this down. This is a fact. This is unwavering fact. You can only become godly as all consciousness is opened through the spiritual body and essence, period. That's how come I can very proudly stand for all divine feminine, for all humanity, for all ultra-human, for all ultra-sensitives, for all celestials and aliens, for all those that love God and Source Creator, and all life that is sacred. And I can stand in any room, in any category, next to anyone that has a robe or bars or a title or letters after their name. And I can be, and I will always be, I am that I am. And that has nothing to say about somebody having more intricate knowledge of the physical body and its attributes and how processes work. My wisdoms and my intelligences are far beyond. Because to heal something, it might not need to know the processes of a physical system, like the lymphatic system. It might need one particular thought or energy of a quark to one particular cell, and the energy and the density is now broken up. Does that make sense, dear lighted ones? This is why that statement is so important. Write that statement down and practice it and live it. This is why humanity is in the state that it is in, because it is not connected to the spiritual body. It does not have higher light intelligence and wisdoms, and it does not know the value and the importance of it being spiritual. Therefore, thus then, this will send a ripple through the 3D collective and why things are breaking and why it should. All that has been 3D, box and bookstores, what you know as a book and what you've learned through a book. It has its place, yes. It is not the ultimate in wisdoms and talents and education, no. And we all know that. There will be light wisdom schools that will speak only about light wisdoms, and you will pull open the Akash, and you will open the library of the Akash, and you will have your wisdoms on how to heal any disease, any ailment, anything in any way of the body through light and through sound and through knowing. And you may need, yes, some particular Westerns and Easterns medicines to assist in the complementing of healing the body and the tissues, because there are so much toxins and carcinogens in the environments here, along with negativity. But we need to start somewhere. Understanding multidimensionality, understanding how it affects your physical body, understanding how it affects the mind and the spirit and the soul. But it's up to you now to walk forward in your sovereignty and practice every day, to call harmony back to self all day, to call harmony back to who you are at every moment of your day, and know that you can recenter, rebalance, and take grander control over what affects you. This is what ascension is about, is you don't have to let anything outside of you affect you. It will become simply the mirror of what is going on within you. But those of us that are meant to be healers and leaders, we do have to place ourselves in environments that are not of benefit. And we have to do our job, if you will. And our fields are so powerful. Our fields are so powerful that our fields affect anybody that stands next to us. Our fields are very real in its own manifestation of healing. And it's okay that those in the very low vibrational boxes don't believe anything about energy. But if they just take a few quantum electronic classes, and if they just take a few quantum mechanical classes, if they just take anything to do about energy like botany, anything to do about any class about life, they will understand that energy is everything. It is the essence of all life. It's with the DNA would not be able to be the DNA. The DNA carries every aspect that we are all the way up to the 13th dimension. The DNA will stay with you through every lifetime that you are. Your DNA is always an encompassment, and it's always a curriculum that churns itself and it becomes itself every time you have a new body. And it's designed with you in source, designed with you and your soul over soul teams. We can't even put the DNA in the most elegant, intricate stories of who you are within your DNA. And the more that you love your DNA, the more relationship you build with your DNA and your chakras and your body and your multidimensional fields, the more imbalanced you become, because you have been always a spiritual being, and what you've turned off to it is imbalanced. That's when you get, again, it goes back to the physical, because whatever is out of balance in the energy goes to the physical. It just takes a little bit longer, but you're still going to manifest disease because your energy body is totally out of whack. You're all energy. How could you not be? You don't truly see with the eyeballs. Your eyeballs are just like a window. You actually see with the encompassment of the tool of the brain and the consciousness. Consciousness is actually what you see in. And that's why somebody that is a very great third eye, has a great third eye practice, they close their eyes. We don't need our eyes. Our eyes are just a window. The third eye is what sees. And how does it see? It goes to the memory of the now snapshot through the consciousness, as we've said many times. The brain doesn't actually hold memory. It's like a tool. It's like a portal. It's like a portal through the consciousness. The consciousness is what holds memory. Once you heal that memory in your consciousness, in the spiral of now, you've healed that density. Then the light gets through and you have greater flow. That memory won't be on that record anymore that you keep skipping on. You have to recode that experience. You have to recode that skip. And you can recode it. You can go right to the light. So I was giving this morning, I'll talk to somebody else about that. I can't talk about that right now, because we know there's many people on the line that steal energy, that steal ideas. So I'm going to talk about that later. So that's just what we talk. So when we're talking about Claire ascensions and we're talking about the Claires, it's very important that you get used to softening with consciousness, because consciousness is not something you can force into a logical box. It's not meant to be. You know, it's meant to be that thing that you can soften into and use any one of your gifts. Be very fluid, because many of you, do I have a number, Spirit, on the ones that are listening now, Future Now Moments, on the collective that is listening now, Future Now Moments? Can you give me a percentage on the ones that are going to be using more than 3 of their Claires for their gifts and their vocation, for their career vocation? If they're going to be specifically using their energy gifts for a offering to the collective. Is there a number there? So there's more than about 70% of you at this point in time. And again, it depends on what you're going to work with your teams. Are you going to work with the gifts, as I've said, daily? Work with your gifts daily. And how do you do that? You can book a session with me. And we're going to be creating the daily journals that will help you guide yourself on how do I work with my gifts and skills and my talents? What are my gifts and my skills and my talents? And work with your teams, right? So that when you are working on any one of your chakras, and those gifts, those chakras have absolutely everything to do with how you use your gifts and your skills and your talents. Did you know that? Put that on your piece of paper. This is a truth. This is an ultra human truth. Your chakras and how your chakras are working Are they balanced? Are they in light? Are they flowing with energy? Are they flowing with light? Are they flowing with love? Are you talking to your chakras every day? Your chakras have everything to do with all of your clairs. And how you navigate dimension. And what is dimension? Write this on your paper. What's dimension? Information and vibration. Of course it has to, right? So we'll give you another example. Anybody standing in front of me, and if I have a call and that person is paid for a healing, as I'm on the phone, even before the phone call takes place, I start to feel in my body where the energy woundings, where the densities are. That's why sometimes even clearing my throat, it's not necessarily, yes it is, because that's what these people have been doing, is throwing magic at my throat, so I have to clear. But some of it is the people in the class are asking for throat clearing. So I clear that for you. I assist in clearing that for you. You still have to go in and clear it for yourself. But because there's so many people on the line, sometimes I can't get to everybody. But most people in the collective have throat chakra blockages. So that's sometimes why I do adjust my energies in my field, because I'm helping you clear what's going on in your field, even before you even get on the phone. So that's my gifts. That's my gifts as a vibrational healer, a vibrational conduit. All that I am is connecting with vibrationally the God of your field. So if your field is not being worked on or cleared, you standing next to me, you will feel agitation because there's light poking you and it's saying, hey, wake up, wake up, wake up. You got something going on in your field here, and you're gonna manifest a car crash, you're gonna manifest a physical injury, you're gonna manifest a disease, because that's what the triggers do. They want you to wake up. This is energy. Energy is very real. And when you're next to somebody that has been doing the work, that is very conscious about where I stand in my chakras, yeah, it's a pronunciation, right? It's an exclamation mark instead of just a comma. And this is what we want to prepare you for 5D. Because preparing you for 5D, if you have a celestial being that's always in the celestial energies, 5D and above, they get to a vibration where they've had to blanket themselves and cloak themselves so that they stay safe within their encasing, because they will be in the physical. But they have done certain protections and they're wearing certain nanotechnology to protect the physical body. Because when they approach somebody like you, they can see in your field, there's a few still wounds that are still insecure, because I'm not going to vibrate as pristine as the celestial that's always in celestial, because I have to navigate through billions of people's insecurities. And I feel it. As an empath, I'm connected to the collective heart. So I have to transmute every day. This is where the knowledge of somebody like me, completely ignored and ignorant between those people that have been attacking me for 50 years and still are putting together plots, plans, and assassination attempts on me. They have no idea the complexity of who I am as a vibrational being and what it's going to be like when we do face the celestials, because they are in realms where it is all magical all the time. Right? They have access to all of this, and they can just tune in and have a beautiful experience with, unicorns one day. Consciously, they just take their consciousness up, and it's just a matter of directing and tending your consciousness. And that's how you move as an ultra human. That's how you move as a higher vibrational being. You just direct your consciousness, but you must come into practice with it first. You must have a beautiful relationship with it first. And that's called alignment. So what is alignment? Write this on your papers, right? Alignment. What is alignment? When you want to align with a manifestation, let's go into 3D land, 4D land, 5D land. I would like a manifestation of a beautiful soulmate. And because you want your beautiful soulmate in the most highest version that you're going to meet this soulmate as, and why you never have to pay for another love reading for as long as you live. Why would you? So have that as a 2026 goal. I will no longer pay for love readings, because my life and my soul and my spirit is about me. It's only about me. And when I'm in my perfect place, and when I'm feeling great about myself, and when I understand my energies, when I understand my desires, when I understand my wants and my needs, then I'm not going to be projecting, and I'm not going to be codependent, and I'm not going to be expecting anybody else to be anybody else but them. That's when you fall into the portal of unconditionality, because it doesn't matter where anyone outside of you is at. They're only there to be a reflection, and they're there to be an enhancement to your journey. That's it. That's it. So why give it any more expectation than that? You give it expectation than that because you have been taught, told, and shown that you need others around you to fit and to be that other part of the equation. Yes and no. Source is always the second half of the equation, always. Let's have this as a mind-blowing factor for today. This is the equation, this is the quantum equation, and this is a truth. Source is always the other half of every equation, always. So whatever it is in any moment that you need, whether it's love or listening or compassion or tenderness or gentleness or erotica, whatever it is, go to source. That's how you will never ever create an addiction. You will never ever create an imbalance. You will never ever create self-loathing. You will never ever create self-harm or self-shame, because you're not going to go to the outer reality to get what it is that you want to experience and explore. Does that make sense, dear lighted ones? This has never been talked about on the planet. That's the first statement that this time has ever been said. And that is a profound statement that will change the psychology, psychiatry, and the philosophies on planet Earth. For much of the trauma, for much of the distortions, the imbalances, the sicknesses, the maladies, the regressions, suppressions, subjugations, delineations, discriminations, and on and on and on. Because you've not included source. Source can allow you to feel it's okay to be erotic. Have that erotic experience, but have it with source. How can I explore this first within myself so that I'm safe? I get to know who I am. I get to know why I have this experience. Why do I want this experience? Have those explorations within yourself first, within source first. And then you get to feel forward. You get to fully explore those experiences. Why are the 3 E's so important to healing? Why are the 3 E's so important to be ultra human? Why are the 3 E's so important to be successful and benevolent and keep moving up, keep moving up, keep moving up? And you're not going to get into criminal activities. Because you've explored, experience, and expressed yourself in such a way, you're not going to go to those places like underground sex rings and underground subjugation rings and underground things that happen where you're absolutely degrading your sex life. You're absolutely degrading who you are as a physical, human, sacred being, and you're degrading your sexual life force. These things are all sacred. Why would you degrade them? You degrade them because you're not willing to look at it in a very mature and honoring and point blank way, transparent way. These statements that I'm saying is the very first basis of all of the healing that will take place in everything that has been underground. Because you've been disconnected from light, intelligent wisdoms. There's been nobody teaching it and it's all been suppressed. There has been little facing of what source creator God truly is and allowing it to be in your life step by step, breath by breath, step by step. Allowing everything to be of balance with you, neck and neck, step and step, like the children and the elders and divine feminine, we are equal with all things. And allowing every exploration to be okay, and why there's so much discriminations with the LGBTQT+1 experience. They're there to face us to say there's a lot of discriminations and suppressions and voices that are not being heard. How can we heal this? I'm going to come and face you. What are your discriminations? What are your judgments? Why are you not allowing yourself the exploration that you need, but doing it in a responsible and mature way so that nobody gets hurt? And you're actually having free will involved, where you're not forcing and luring and then degrading and breaking people mentally, emotionally, physically, financially by forcing them to be in your sex rings, by forcing them to be in your Rico, by forcing them through magic, dark occult, and voodoo. Do you see what we're saying here, delighted ones? These are very important foundations and concepts that will absolutely begin to start research. It will absolutely begin to start healing programs. It will begin to start healing light activity programs. These experiences are in every community. We must begin. And it will span out into light healing innovativeness, sound healing innovativeness. And the celestials and the higher realm experiences will be showing us how to use light and sound for healing and operations. But we must begin now at the very foundations of the philosophies. Why is humanity in the state that it's in? Why have we gone to trafficking? Why has the underground been there? Because you have not allowed the 3 E's. You've had a disconnection of source. Source has not been with you in the equation. We'll get an example, and it's very important we talk about this, and we're going to make this subject very easy. If you place on the table the idea and the example of erotica or soft BDSM, we all know what that is, or S&M, very soft. We're not going to go into the torturous and treacherous, because once you get harder and harsher, it means that there's wounding there. We're just going to go into soft S&M. We're going to go into soft erotica. And instead of going to porn and all of those things, you can go to source because it's a more balanced, loving, honoring, and sacred approach. Yes, the options are there, and yes, you have a portal to do that. And the portal on planet Earth right now is about as dark and as low vibrational as it will ever get. And it's into a red flag state. Because obviously, to have people have done what they have done, it's actually promoting sadism and masochism to a profound degree. And you keep going in that degree, and what does that do? Your whole planet will become imbalanced to a point where the planet cannot balance itself out on any level, which is why it was in a red state. You have to understand when things get into such a psychosis, when things get into such demonic energies, and their intentions were to take as many souls with them as possible. That's why there were these practices. But if you take these very normal experiences, and very normal experiences as being attracted to the same sex, it's a very normal experience the soul must have. The soul must have these experiences in its energy, whether it's just as a visual, where they're getting more into a physical experience, whatever that experience that soul wants to explore, whatever that soul wants to explore between 3 and 5D. Whatever that soul is in its theme, because Source will write those themes for you to approach it. And if you have such discriminations and if you have such subjugations, you better bet it's going to be in your soul theme to get over and get into integration and make one with and make peace with. You absolutely bet that. Whatever you push away is absolutely going to keep coming up and keep coming up and keep coming up. And that is a fact. So we talk about all of these things, and this is why there's been so many discriminations in religion and church and state, because they like to put labels on things, and they are the very first people that build, and they're the very first people that are in the first ones through the door of the underground S&M sex cults. Better bet that. Better bet what robes they're wearing when they walk out. So this is why, again, can't we all just be grown-ups? Can't we all just start higher light wisdoms and intelligences and start building bridges so that your people are healed, instead of playing that righteous act and placing your hand on a Bible and thinking that you're the one that's leading the all into better days, when you're the one that's been hiding and running as soon as the lights go out, down to these S&M cults, down to these S&M orgy practices, where you're passing diseases back and forth, and then you've got to tell your wife 3 months later that you've got AIDS. And she asked, well, where did you get it from? I've been your wife for 35 years. And then you've got to have that difficult conversation. Would it be best, people and humanity, to be mature and responsible right from the get-go and face what you need to face, so that it doesn't have to become 100 different uncomfortable situations when you have to approach the community that you've been having sex with and advise all of them that you have HIV? Because that is a law and it is a rule. And to be even an honorable person within a body, you must tell all of those people that you have infected. Otherwise, you will never come out of that karma, ever. And at this point in stage, again, what you do, how you do, will choose where you end up. Your intention is everything. That's where karma begins, is your intention. So however much you try to suppress, however much you try to logic your way around something, however you try to suppress and damage and regress, all of those things will keep coming back to you. However much you try to discriminate a light worker or a divine feminine for how much she knows or for how much she stands and who she knows, forever how much you try to attack her and assassinate her and pay anybody that you can because you want to continue with your corrupt life. It's not going to make any difference when the light is going to be bathed multidimensionally, galactically, through Source Creator on every level in every way, in every breath that everyone takes on this planet. 8 billion people are receiving light every day, every minute, every hour. And it doesn't matter how many chemtrails you might want to put, and it doesn't matter how much you want to put the subtle energies of the sound through the collective to make them be as aggressive as possible. It doesn't matter your tactics, darkness. I'm going to pierce you on every quirk of this land and every quirk of the oceans and every quirk within the air and the forests and the soils. I will pierce you. I am all things. And this is my garden now. And you can try and suppress every person on this planet and it will not work. Because Source is. The partnership is. And why I have such a strong partnership with Source is I'm showing you the equation of me is I am that I am. The that I am is Source Creator. And I can converge universal energies if I so wish. I can converge multiverse energies if I so wish. If I call it to Source and I say, Source, this is what I need, and Source will then converge and give the finger, let's go. Just like that, a blink, a breath, a thought. and it will converge. But there are many watchers, and there's many councils, and there's many beings and legions that assist everyone as they're going through their initiations. I've been solemnly proven. And so I teach thus because I love Source thus. It is a love, it is a passion. I meet Source equally in passion of light. That's why I move the wormies. I love the wormies. I'll sit and talk with the ladybug. I love the ladybug. Who says that that ladybug's life is no more precious than somebody sitting in an office with their letters behind their name? You give that value. The ladybug doesn't. Source doesn't. It's equal, is it not? What equation would you like to work with? What happens when all the bees are disembarking from your planet and they no longer incarnate here? What happens? You all know what happens. It's very detrimental. So who says that those bees and the electromagnetic experiences that they're now having to struggle through, because you think that your experiences of certain electromagnetic technologies are going to be of any detriment to any life? It is. Absolutely it is. Who are you? What is the greater good? Nature? Berries, food, fruit that we're going to have to survive on in 5D, because in 5D your bodies will not need meat. So again, one act of ignorance and one act of not connecting with your higher self and light intelligent wisdoms will affect the absolute progression of humanity or not. So Source is the other half of the equation in every aspect. It doesn't matter what we bring about. If we talk about nuclear war, we can put Source in the other equation, and I can tell you, I can give you an infinity on that equation. This is how you work as a conduit, as a 100% tapped in Claire being, ultra human. They're very simple things that I've given you. They're only of my programming. They're only of my downloads. These are my teachings. You cannot say that these are yours. They're mine. They're my downloads. You can, however, take these into your daily practice, and you can practice being as best as you can through your higher self, who you're meant to be. Not who I'm going to be, but who you're meant to be. These are proformas. These are examples. And these are my work and will always continue to be my intellectual property to awaken the entire collective. That's what I'm here for. I'm here as a leader and a healer to show you that you are magnificent beings. And there's much that we have to transmute and work through and navigate and excavate. And we absolutely will, and we absolutely can. And it's going to take higher vibrational, higher dimensional, higher intelligent thought. And it begins with light, and absolutely, even before light, because light cannot be there if. Here is the big theory of today that will bring you into many philosophies that will bring you to deeperness who you are, in the vastness of who you are. Nothing was nothing without Source. It is always the second part of the equation, i.e. you, i.e. me, i.e. all. Te shinamaka te e. Etikenamakatatik e shenamakatatik a. Shiamatiki senamakatatik a. E shenamakatatik a. Elamanakatatik e shenanaka. You see, dear lighted ones, as you're becoming more in love with who you are, and more caring of who you are, and more compassionate in who you are, Source never ever is separate from you. How can it be? It cannot be. But in your teachings and in your philosophies and in your psychologies and in your education, and why it has to all be rewritten, isn't that fun, dear lighted ones? Each and every one of you are going to be a part of creating. You are here to be creator gods. This is the portal, this is the channel that will assist you in leveling up. It will activate you at a soul level. Who are you? Are you somebody that follows and mimics and mimes somebody else? Or are you somebody unique and authentic? Go within, dear lighted ones. God is with you. God is always the other part of that equation. It never, ever is any other way. And when you honor that, then anything before you is transmutable, manifestable. Let's see, we take this manifestation of a soulmate, a lover. And let's say you've integrated, let's say you're just beginning about 20% of the 51%. So you've gone through a few soul experiences, you've gone through a few dark nights of the soul, you're now changing your behaviors, you're now having more loving affirmations, more loving self-practices, you've cleaned out your fridge once a month, you're making sure you're eating properly and sending love to your walls and clearing out your home, and you're being loving in who you are, and you're finding more time to do things that you love to do, and all of these things are allowing you to be and leveling up in your integration and your soul healing. Because it is always about self-love. That's all it's ever about. Why? Because source is always the other part of that equation. Anything that you want to manifest, source is it. But you've never been taught that. It's been separate from you. It's been in this box store, that box store, that box store. You're not going to be fully of source. You're not going to be fully God unless you go to all the box stores. Or even worse, is if you go to this box store and stay in this box store only. If you only stay in this box store, which is the highest percentage of mentality on the planet, you must belong to one box store and one box store only to ever be to any degree of righteousness and holiness. And that is absolutely farthest from the truth. It's absolutely the most wrong statement to ever make and think and be. And why things are falling and breaking, and why the churches are not churches anymore. They're just little portholes and holding stations and luring places to see who's going to go next in the trafficking rings and corruption. And the Masonic corruption rings. Not all of them, but some of them, yes, and you all know it. You see it coming down in your news every day. Why? Because where you start and how you do what you do is going to end up where you are. Your intention. What is your intention, and why do you keep doing what you're doing? Because you're not healing the wounds within you. You have no connection with source. Even though you say you go to church every day, and even though you say you read the Bible every day, that does not connect you to source. It doesn't. It connects you to a box store in your version of God. And now we're saying 5D. God has always been more than all things. Source has always been more than all things. Source has been what's called the junk DNA. Source has been the black hole. Source is everything that source is. How can it not be? So how about we go right to the top, dear lighted ones? Every equation source is. The manifestation of a lover. If you are who you are and you're 20% into your soul integration, you can have the intention to have a soulmate whenever, because you never control the outcome of a source in the equation. Because you don't know what they're working on. You don't know their timing if it's ready for them. You don't know what source has planned for you. You don't know the next thing you're ready to release. You don't know the next thing you're going to be needed over here, and over here. And before you get that soul lover that you're absolutely going to need, these lessons in between. See what I was saying? So again, you might manifest all that you want, and in your ego mind, in your logic mind, you're going to say, I'm going to manifest every part of this desire. You can't. I mean, it's a nice frilly thing to say, but you can't. You must rely on all the things that you cannot see, all the things, the little divots and the detours and the this and the that, and the many layers and the veils that source is going to color your story with. So why would you have such rigid experiences on only how something can manifest? You don't know that you're going to need this, and this to manifest the whole soul person that soul has you with, because you've been with them about 300 timelines before. I'll give you an example. This is a true story, a very true story. I've talked about this many times. There was a beautiful soulmate on this planet that I had tapped into when I was in grade 11. I didn't know this person at all. I just knew that there was a deep soul love I had, and this person was located in Ontario. And I had these weird, strange feelings that I had to go to Ontario after I graduated. I didn't know why. I did know, on the other hand, fact that one of my favorite musicians had lived in Ontario. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know any of this at the time when I was in high school. 20 some odd years later, 30 some odd years later, I was reconnected with that same energy, because that energy was there to help me go through a few things. That energy loved me on a different realm. We are partners on a different realm. That energy was there in this physical realm saying, you're going to need help with this. I'm here to help you with this. So after a little while, I was sitting at my computer one day, and I was viewing this experience online, and it was this musician that was online. And I had an immediate vision. I had immediate clairsentience. I had immediate I would see it, and I knew it in my heart that this person I saw in front of me was this person and this person and this person in all of these other realms and all of these other realities that was trying to be with me in this moment to help process what I needed to process. And it had the same experience. It was linked. It was all threaded. It was all linked to the energies that I felt in grade 11. So then as I saw that image, it immediately put all the dots together. It threaded all the dots. It threaded the web. It threaded the picture that Source is now weaving together for me. Now, 40 years later, 38 years later. So the picture of that puzzle story now came to fruition. I said, now I know why I felt what I felt in grade 12. You never know you're ultra human until after the fact. Because now all of these little dots that Spirit puts together, they're vibrational touch points. Vibrational touch points, if you don't know why you met that person when you met them, you don't know why they stood out to you, they're just little touch points of people that love you and care for you on different realms, on different threads, that you're there to help you through a vibrational experience. Why? Because there's nothing more important in this experience on earth than our emotional experiences. Because our emotional experiences help us reconnect with Spirit, the feeling of all life. And allowing that motion and allowing the tumultuousness to happen with you, but not to express yourself in such a way that it detriments anyone else. You're meant to have that full tumultuousness and feeling those vibrations and feeling those emotions, just not get caught up in them and stay there. When you stay there, that's when it becomes disease. And I could have stayed there because when I realized looking at the screen, and then I had gone and done a little bit of research and I found out that they had passed. And I thought, oh my gosh, here it was, this chance, and there's one chance to meet a beautiful soulmate that I could have fallen in love with. You know, that person that as a little girl, you always dream of, that one man that is romantic and honoring and fun and joyful and has a similar interests and loves you the way you love them. You know, that intimate caring and giving thing that sometimes little girls dream of, right? To have that prince that they're just so, you know, they just love listening to and looking at and adoring and all of those things and taking care of and having fun with and playing competitive sports with and all the things that girls like to do, right? And so there was a part of me that was sad, and Source said, well, that person was there and they love you and you are partners with them on other realms, but this realm is different. This realm has different stories. This realm has different themes. This realm has different goals for you. This realm has different theories you wanted to test and explore. As the physical being that you are, now becoming more ultra human in your experiences and your expressions of Source Creator, the equation of Source. You needed a different level of mathematics. So although you want the quick mathematic of having a definite soul partner right now, you don't know, because you're a creator God, that you're going to need somebody that's going to take you to a deeper emotional level. And this is what I've talked about before. That being is a soulmate in the Pleiades with me. And he's been with me for many, many timelines. And I was meant to be with another soulmate in this realm, but Source had said they're not ready yet. They're not at my level. They're not ready to come forward and be the person that I can. So then I had to go to a different soulmate. And so now there's a different soulmate in the mix. So this is what happens in this realm at these times. We're going through great, vast projections. We're going through great, vast experiences where we're being propulsioned in different ways. So be okay with it. That's why we said in our video yesterday, be okay with these time glitches, and time and space isn't going to seem like it used to. It's not going to be linear anymore. You're going to have soulmates that are going to drop out at the last second because they want to go and learn something different. They want a different part of the equation of Source. They want a more logical part of Source to learn. So maybe they're going to go off and do something else in a different realm. Lots of different realms in this new fifth dimensional experience. So just know that. You might not even see them, but they might still be in the fifth dimension. They might be at a lower part learning different logical aspects. Because now that we're just starting fifth dimension, it can go on to eternity. We're just starting to build the foundations of 5D New Earth Star. So there's going to be lots of us that are going to be going here and there. There's going to be things that we're going to be taken out at a second and then put back in. That's Source. Because Source knows what your theme of your soul's fulfillment is. My soul's fulfillment is to inspire and lead higher intelligence of Source Creator so that we can enjoy our time here. We can enjoy our bodies. We can enjoy soul love at a very deep and rich level. Why? Ask me the question, why? And this is what I get so excited about, and my body and I get little chicken skin and goosebumps. This is gonna boggle your mind. Write this on your papers and you can think about this over the weekend. I got goosebumps everywhere. Why is it so important that we want to get deep and rich with Source? Why is it? All of you are going to be known if you follow us on this ride. If you join my wave, dear lighted ones. If you come to be a creator God every time we show up on these shows and this platform, guess who you are? Guess who you are? Why is it so important that we get rich and deep with Source? I'm going to say this for the first time ever, and it's never been said, only through me, only through me. And God gives me this gift to say things that are only through me, through me, through me. We are. Tisha makata ke sena makaa. Sheta ke namaa, seta ke sena nakaa. Eta ke sena nakaa. Thoth, sesha makata ke ananaka. E sena nakaa. Te lai namakaa. Te she te ke a. That was Thoth, Trismegistus. Thank you, Holy Thoth. Thank you, Holy Thoth. Thank you, Holy Thoth. Because we are created gods, dear lighted ones. And we don't take that with any ego that you know it of. We are so delighted to have been chosen throughout time. And we say chosen through our own souls and our ancestors and our lineages. And Source has agreed, and Source has been triumphantly celebrating each of us and lifting us. Because this is the time, dear lighted ones, you have been selected among your peers in the collective as well, that you are of the seers, of the knowers, of the instigators, of the innovators. You are those at the front of your fields. And you can allow yourself the celebration and the exaltation and the ecstasy to go deep with Source, to get emotional with Source, to get logical and then philosophical with Source, philosophical, psychological, all of these things that are going to be rewritten. And you're going to touch, if we will, I'm showing you what I see. Would you like to know what I see? And you're going to be included if you so wish. It's your free will. Do you choose at this moment to be included in this ride of the co-creators of 5D New Earth Star? Yes or no? Do you choose to be one of the top creators? And we say top, meaning that your creative collective has chosen you. That's why they're in your blueprint. Everything we say makes sense, dear lighted ones. It's all connected. It's Source. Source is the equation. You're only now beginning to see it and know it and have it come into your life and have Source be a part of this relationship. I see a threading in the cycle and the spiraling, just as your chakras, just as Earth, just as the grids, just as the record, just as the vinyl that is playing. And each and every one of you are going to be placed as the light dots, as the crystalline dots on this record vinyl. And you're going to be selected as the God co-creators. And who are you in this balanced, centered pillar of light moment? And you center and ground in your pillar of light and the most excited aspects of you within your solar plexus. I am that I am, so passionate about music, so passionate about creativity, so passionate about poetry and story writing, so passionate about taking humanity to new lengths and new widths and new depths, psychologically, literally. We're going to take them in new places with entertainment, with sound, and with music. We're going to go places with cetaceans. We're going to go places with innovativeness of medicine and healing. With healing's humanity with humanity. Do you see what we're saying here, delighted ones? Are you excited? Why you've come to my channel, why you've been directed to my channel, and why you can let go of your discriminations and your comments and just sit back and heed and learn and soften. Because sometimes you don't know. And sometimes it's just okay to bow and respect and honor and see what's going to open up. Because there's going to be an activation where you thought you knew, but you really don't. It's really more profound than you thought. Because God not going to disclose the whole puzzle to you. You must go here to here to here. Why? Because if God showed you the whole puzzle, you wouldn't take advantage and you wouldn't go really deep on those detours, on every step of those detours. You need to go deep on every detour. Make peace and make richness of it. This is why I am known throughout the multiverse. I'm very rich in my spirit. And yes, I'm not always happy about the experiences that I'm placed in, but there are none other like me. And they know that. The multiverse knows that. I am sought after. I can explain things rich and deeply to every thread. I love the threads. I love the aspects of the dodecahedron. I want to go there. And then I want to open it up and explore it. That's what I do with Source. Source is my equation. Source says, Celeste, let's go here. You're the only one in the physical that can do this. And I said, but why, Source? Why can't I just read my book today? No, I need your light. The people need to hear from you. Your voice can help explain that one story in 10 different ways that's needed. Their hearts can awaken through your 10 different thread of equations, of knowings, of offerings through your chakras. Your voice can activate. Your body can activate. Your mantras can activate. All that you are activates, no matter who is standing before you. They are activated in the sounds and being of source. It's a very rich vinyl right now. You're new. You're the ones at the gate, dear lighted ones. You're like the horse. You're like the steed right behind the bars, and the bars haven't opened yet because nobody's told you. I'm telling you now, the very first time, this is the day. This is the day, dear lighted ones, where the seeds are going into thine garden and the gates are opened. Who are you? What are your passions? Can you answer that question with absolute certainty? Passions. I just want to talk about source. You put anybody in front of me, Spirit, and I'm going to talk about you, and I'm going to love you, and I'm going to bow to you, and I'm going to bring anything that's forward about you. I'm going to bring the ladybugs, I'm going to bring the worms, I'm going to bring the grass, I'm going to bring the soils, I'm going to bring the dimensions, I'm going to bring Sirius, I'm going to bring the Pleiades, I'm going to bring Andromeda, I'm going to bring the organs, I'm going to bring the hair, I'm going to bring the skin, I'm going to bring whoever you wanted me to bring. Bring me the soulmates. Bring me the karmic soulmates. Bring me the cults and the covens. Bring me anything, Holy Spirit. I want to talk about you. Source is always in the equations, dear lighted ones. Who told you that God wasn't? God will always be. And it's only from where you sit, your perspectives and your theories derive. If you want higher theories, if you want higher math, then harmonize with Source. And you will see more, and you will experience more, and you will be more. And when you're manifesting a soulmate, all you got to do every now and then, I know I'm manifesting the highest soulmate that will allow me to be equally me as I celebrate them and be in them. Because that's all you want in a soulmate, is for them to cherish you and lift you as you cherish and lift them. And that's unconditional, because they're going to go through their days and they're going to have the full gamut of emotions, and you want them to. You want to see them in the full gamut of their emotions, and they're going to see you in your full gamut of emotions, and you're going to accept it all so you can heal each other's emotional fields. It's a story, dear lighted ones. You can't make logic out of the emotions. It can make sense sometimes, and you can get to know them and love them anyways. But sometimes you're going to go on a detour, and you're going to have a soul fragment come forward that's not from this timeline, that's not from this realm, and you're going to have to face it and heal it. And the only way to do that is through your emotional body. And it won't make any sense at all. I told you about that time where I harmonized and I integrated that Arcturian soulmate. It was a soul of me, and the soulmates before me were the ones that had taken me, and they had withheld me, and they had enslaved me, and they had put me in their prison, and then they had dissected me for what they wanted to make out of their agendas. And the intentions from the heavens and from the galactic federations and the councils of light was knowing that Earth was on a vibration of ascension, Earth was on a vibration of preparing for first contact and disclosure, and I was one of the ones sent to build bridges of first communication. And of course, as the contracts were drawn, the contracts were then breached on behalf of the US government and their intentions. This was in the 1950s through the Eisenhower representation. And he was a man that was only driven on his agendas. And I had actually met Eisenhower, and he cared about only his agendas. He did not care about the being that I was. Just as many of you are here today, many of you that are here passing the channel, and there's many of you that have your judgments and your statements and whatever it is, you don't know anything about me. So how could you even say something? But you're just so used to judgment, and you're so used to hate. You're so used to separation because you have no connection with Source. Source is always with you. You just have not acknowledged it. You have not accepted it. You have not allowed it, the 3 A's. You've done no alchemy with Source. You've done no mathematics with Source. You've done no quantum mathematics. You've done no quantum mechanics with Source. The quantum mechanics is the same as quantum alchemy. It's all Source. Source is always with you. Source can never not be with you. What's your perspectives? What are your beliefs? What are your attitudes? Are you stuck in a box door? And so this soulmate, and your soulmate is always going to be Source. Always. It's just a different version of Source, a different density, a different wrapped package of beliefs and perspectives. It's still Source, dear lighted ones. And all that you operate and emanate within all of your lightness is going to be that reflection of that soulmate that's coming in. But you don't want to dictate and have expectations and control it so much so that your ego and the logical mind thinks it's going to manifest and it's going to control everything here in between so that it becomes its most highest and its most fruitful. No, because sometimes you're both going to go through experiences where you're not going to be fruitful and you're going to have to make peace with it. Can you? One of the greatest experiences of ascension, and it might seem paradoxical, it might seem oxymoron. And write this down, it's very important. Source has said to me in my most challenging, most dense, feels like you're going through mud and through quicksand at the very same time. This is how it feels being in density with such disconnected and distorted and morphed ideas and perspectives and such arrogance and misogyny. This is what ignorance feels like. It feels like you're walking through quicksand. And you never actually walk. And in such beliefs, there might be only one way to get to the door, but you're going through quicksand. So you're going to try and think up as many ways as you can to get to that door, but you're still not getting to the door because of the beliefs that you have. And once you start changing and altering within you, about who you are and what the equations are going on within you, about the makeup and the way your makeup and your systems are working with each other, and the neurons and the synapses and your organs and your blood, and all of that is crystalline light within you. And you start operating with greater light, that quicksand starts to becoming less and less quicksand. It becomes more and more water, more and more water, more and more water. Because your body has to do a lot of healing and a lot of letting go and a lot of emotional excretion, creating a lot more water. So it's not seeming to be where it is because all that stuff that made the mud and the guck and the uck, you've been carrying from other timelines, you've been carrying from other people, you've been carrying from the box store beliefs, you've been carrying from everybody else that you said, I'd carry this for you. I don't know why I'm carrying it for you, but I guess I can. You're taking on beliefs and you're taking on patterns and you're taking on experiences, you're taking on behaviors that are not yours. These things are all changeable. Patterns are very changeable. Instead of brushing your teeth at 7:05, you can brush your teeth at 7:11. It's still a pattern, but you can change it. Change your toothpaste. Maybe you dance while you're brushing your teeth. Maybe you look at yourself and tell yourself how gorgeous you are brushing your teeth. You can always change your pattern to be a higher equation of source. Does that make sense, dear lighted ones? We said before that we are moving into a very profound experience. You're all creator gods. Source is always with you. Source is always in your equation. These two are profound things that have never been said on this planet before. You start working with these equations, your life will change. As much as you choose to, because it's all you. It's your intention. It's your working and dancing with Source every minute. This is why Source has me be and go and be wherever I shall. Because Source knows that somehow, some way, there will just be a quirk of inspiration because of you. It's because of you. Because of you, I get to be me. Because you're sitting there with such an open heart and such an open enmeshment of fields of light. You're all open. There's only a few of you that are closed right now. Because you're still not understanding what's going on with consciousness, and that's okay. Still sit and still intend yourself to be open and receiving. I'm seeing right now before me, most of you are very open. You're excited. Your consciousnesses are finally excited. There is so much more here. We're going to have so much fun. Because you are opened, I get that quark. That's part of the equation. Source in me, quark in you. I then get that inspiration and I speak the codes that are needed in stories and metaphors and parables. That's what Jesus did. Except there was only very limited information because there was not the internet back then. There was only certain things of beliefs. So again, we're going in generational experiences of what's available in our knowingness. We've had many more years of psychology. We have many more years of philosophy, many more years of quantum physics. But now we're going to change things up. We're going to change it up. Because as we're sitting here today, dear lighted ones, many of you will see that you are going to be the ones that will alter the equations that you thought and you were told that were never changeable. And of course they are. Of course they are. If there is an equation to cancer of the lymph nodes or the liver, there is absolutely an equation that can absolutely, within a day, turn that equation off and change and alter it. Why? Write it down. What do you say? Telepathically, what do you say? Telepathically, what do you say? What is your answer? Because source is the other half of the equation. Bravo, creator gods. Source is not only the other half of the equation, source is all of the equation. Can you stand up and cheer? Can you stand up and cheer, delighted ones, and while you are creator gods? You are here with me, you are here with me. We're gonna activate new Earth Star, new Earth Star, new Earth Star, new systems of light, new systems of education, new systems of learning, new systems of being. Light and sound, light and sound. I'm just communicating with the Galactic Federations. Just one moment, please. Shinnamakara de ka, ten shinnamakara de ka, tenamakai tiki. Shinnamaka tiki, shinnaka, shimamaka tiki, shinnaka. Translation. There is an operating star system that you are mirroring. So very excited. So I see the Galactic Federation ships, and they have many of their crystalline tablets. Their walls and their front monitors is a crystalline tablet. They don't use monitors like we do. Shinnamakada decay, nana ke, shinnamakada deka anaka. Ground, 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 ground. Shinnamakada decay, shinnaka. Is this through Rigel? Just through the Syrian, Pleiadian. What star system, please? Past the Pleiades. A blue, crystalline star cluster that we are in transference with, who are watching us create the foundations of a new civilization experience through which there will be much tethering of information and sound. We will have much discourse on the light ships, the sharing information back and forth. Many of you are at the stage in which you will be waking in your morning states, and you will be feeling very invigorated to begin writing and journaling of the downloads and the informations you've gathered in your sleeps. And these will help you and assist you with until there is first face-to-face contact, and you will get and garner information and excitements to anchor into the sands and soils of your new Earth Star and see many answers that you've never thought about before, but just seem to pop into your head or your day as you're moving about in leisure, because you can never force anything to come forward to you. It's usually about as you're doing housework or driving somewhere in leisure where you have the download become active in your field, or your memory or your dream, and you will have a flash, an inspiration. So always carry journals with you. For many of you are meant to be the inspirators of great ignition of sparks of light. These sparks are the God creator spark, so that you're going to anchor in to your own cities of inspiration and doing and becoming of new ways of human connectivity, universal unity. The species that we are speaking about are not in your direct star system. They're in another star system, and they are, as I see, about 2 threads above us, looking down and across. They're 2 threads up. They're past the Pleiades. I see Sirius, I see the Pleiades, and they're past the Pleiades. And it is a blue star cluster. They are watching us. They know of us. They are of a higher dimensional frequency. And they are in a very similar experience of one of their planets. Their planets are moving into an experience of integration of new species, of new beginnings, of new stories, of new story timelines. And they're seeing how we are taking what has been, what have been the devastations, what has been before, in very profound, very in-depth socioeconomic systems of billions. They do not have billions. Their infrastructure is much smaller, much more refined. We have much more complex, very webbed, very confusing, very dense. Many people involved, many hands involved, if you will. Many detriment to many souls have been involved. They're showing me many of the children that have experienced trafficking, have offered their souls these experiences, are also parts of that star system. So that they can come and be of the experiential as Celeste is. They can be leaders. And they can speak interdimensionally. They can speak quantumly anywhere in the multiverse. And to assist, to awaken each and every one of you, the spark that is God Creator. Quantum love, dear lighted ones. Isn't that fun? We just introduced you to your neighbors and your family that have never been met before. Isn't that fun? Going to a family reunion, all of a sudden you got a new family. It's a new star system. And they're seeing one of their planets of matter move into the potential of becoming higher in consciousness. So it's like a mirrored experience interdimensionally. Because they are on a higher dimension than we are. Not much, but they are. Their highest star is similar to the Pleiades. Very rich and abundant in nature, very high consciousness. Although the Pleiades they're much longer. Pleiades have a much longer birth history. They've gone through their challenges and they've seen much devastation, taking out of whole peoples and communities because they're trying to enforce their ways and enforce their beliefs. And that's the problem with fear and domination, what you call power, the false illusions of power, false indignities of power. So it's up to each and every one of you. What's your new power? What's that all about? Celeste has given you a profound framework. It will be taught globally because it is your best chance at becoming as fluid in your galaxies so that you can know and be and experience as much as you can as Source. Source is always the equations. Source can take you anywhere within the multiverse. Are you ready to fly, dear lighted ones? What about how you get away and get into other communities? How will you move? How will you navigate? How will you be inspired? Do you first tune in first? Where is the most experiential place that I can go right now to assist me in my higher path? Meet the ones that I'm meant to meet. And your teams will show you, they will inspire you, they will guide you. They will guide you to, as we've said many times before, downsize, clear things out, become more movable, become more flexible. Because if you're going to be a creator God, you're going to be inspired to create and to travel. Because there's going to be many beautiful experiences that are going to be magical that your teams are going to want to inspire you with. And sometimes there'll be darker experiences and sometimes there'll be lighter experiences. You must have a balance of both. So be okay with it. Don't judge it. And don't force it to be something it's not meant to be. Allow the emotional body to heal all that it can. You're infinite with Source. Your emotional body is infinite. Just know that you can always come back to center and ground and have your breath before you respond and react. And that is a master. That's knowing that when the energy flows through you, as conduits and as empaths and as healers do, my intention is for the highest and the greatest good, and all energies and intonations and exclamations and sounds and ticks and clicks is for the song of Source, the song of Source. And every sound is meant for who you are. And you might like the softer sounds, and there might be 30 that like it a little more. And I can only be me, and I trust in God, that I can be all that I can be. I just have to be me. And you might say, why do you change your voice? Why do you change? Why do you change? Why can't you just be like us? I'm not meant to be. I'm not meant to be. I can open to species never heard before. Wouldn't you like that? Wouldn't you like that? To know them. Shia mamaka tike se namaka. E tikana makara daka, shena makara daka, e lana makara daka, shena makara daka. I just follow Source, dear lighted ones. Source lives through me. And also, too, isn't it just fun to be theatrical for a little bit? For you all miss that, don't you? Many of you have had such short childhoods. You forget what it's like to be theatrical and be on stage. And it's not for anyone in front of you, no. But it's just for you to experience your emotional body and being happy and sad. And being tuned in and clicked in and turned on. And having all of those things you're meant to just approach with responsibility and laughter and joy. Not make too much seriousness out of it. And just be okay with it all, the grand play that it is, and we're all characters to one another. And the soulmates that are placed in front of you, as Celeste's story has told you and offered. And sometimes they're going to be taken out for their themes and their learnings and their detours in different ways. For however it is to their souls is their souls. It's up to them and God. And then there'll be new soulmates that will be brought in because perhaps you've just gone through a profound release and a growth. And there is another soulmate that just came around the bend and they've chosen to heal something of theirs. And when God and your teams and your soul partners look and say, well, these two have had similar lifetimes, in the span of about 1,000 lifetimes, they've both had the same and equal number of timelines together. They're kind of reaching at the same length and the same height of their consciousness, and they both have very similar goals within their collective. The only beings that could know this are your soul guides and Source. There's no other on this earth that can know that. So whether that soulmate is in Istanbul or around the corner across from the 7-Eleven, there's no being in consciousness that will ever know that but Source. Source knows who is going to get activated now. Source knows who Source is working with every night to awaken things that you're going to need that will satisfy you and bring a desire out in you and activate something deep within you and help soothe and honor and please and heal you. This is why you never have to pay for another love reading ever again. Because Source knows what Source is doing. And if you're connected with Source in all equations of all things, all you have to pay attention to is you. And your soulmate will simply be and connect and threaded through all that is space and time, because your energy cords are going to say, it's our time to be together now. And you can try and fight it and make it logical, and you can try and deny it, and you can try and suppress it and pretend it's not real. But when your soul is meant to co-create, your souls are going to co-create. And because Source is the ultimate matchmaker, your souls will be in front of each other. And it's only up to you to say, am I at that readied state to completely surrender to something I've never experienced before, and I probably never will? Because there is nothing more divine and perfect and precious than two souls that have been brought together by the divine. And they're going to allow you to experience what you need, what each of you need in each other, because you're that in alignment. You're in alignment on an emotional level, on an intellectual level, just in different ways. One might have a higher mathematical intelligence, and one might have a higher intellectual, emotional intelligence. One might have higher access to dimensions, and one might have higher access to human connections. There is no greater matchmaker, dear lighted ones, because God knows the themes and the soul blueprints for each of you and what each of you will need from each of you. You're going to pull on each other in new ways, and have that pulling be very sacred. You ask with honor and respect, is it okay if I ask this of you? I need this from you in this moment. I'm not going to take without you giving it to me, but I'm going to ask if you can give this to me because these are my needs right now. Let's put these on the table. I'd like to explore soft S&M. I'd like to explore something like this. What are your thoughts and feelings on this? These things are slightly moving about playfully in my experience. Don't judge it as light or dark. Just have the experience be okay. And then give that other person their right to say, I'm not really into that. Is that okay if I still love you anyways? Yes. And then you explore that and you say, well, maybe I can experience it in a different way that I don't hurt you, but I also get that experience. These are things that we're going to have to face in different areas of conversation, but have these mature conversations to break the boundaries of what was thought to be acceptable and appropriate. You're at a point now, dear lighted ones, you're going to be faced with the darkest of the darkest. It has to be appropriate. And the highest level of protection for all children, so that they are given the right to their destiny without being touched or harmed or lured by black magic magicians that want them in their trafficking rings, that give more access to pedophiles and child sex pornography rings. And you all know that these are highly, highly illegal shadow government. For why would you ever want to deny and withhold the Holy Christ teacher? Why would you ever want to deny or withhold the highest light wisdom's teacher on the planet if this is exactly not what you are wanting her to not tap into and to call you out on? Why would you? Why would you want to deny such a teacher? What are your affiliations? Where's your threads? What are you not wanting to be known for? What's your business that I'm so bad for? Why have I not received my monies? Why have I not received my birth records? Because then you'd be accountable for all the deeds that you have done. And don't worry, you will be anyways. Donations, dear lighted ones. Thank you so much. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Tisha namakaraka. Thank you. That was really deep. Thank you. Whew. Just let me ground for a sec. Just let me ground. That was lots of big energy. Got in some new energy there. That was fun. Stretch it out. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. We have a couple more minutes for any questions if anybody would like to send a telepathic question. Thank you for all that new information. I'm loving Source and I'm loving the federations for taking me into those new arenas so that I can be a better teacher and a healer and a gifter of Christ consciousness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm so grateful for you. I love you, children. I love you, children. My donation and session for to buy a session is paypal.me/Joanna L. Ross. Joanna L. Ross. So hi, how's everybody doing? That felt good. Those are new energies. That was nice. Thank you. That was lovely. Is there any questions? We have a couple minutes. Thank you for your donations and for your sessions. I love you so much. The beautiful ones that have been sending me donations, you know who you are. You will always be protected and guided by the Holy Creator. And you have angels around you at any time. Please ask the angels for anything that you like. I love you. 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 Thank you for your donations, my beautiful, beautiful beings. I'm available for sessions to collaborate in the vocational alignments of 5D systems, of 5D inspirations, of healing, of innovativeness, and new collective experiences for us to heal one another, dear lighted ones. We are here to create bridges for one another. We are here in unity. We are here in higher consciousness teachings. We are here to empower all leaders to help all people build bridges, for none are above any other, and we all know this. And we will give greater credit to where credit is due, and recognition to where recognition is due, for we are here for one another. And if it were to take any one of these beings off your planet, it would be detrimental. If you were to take any child or any divine feminine off the planet, it would be detrimental. And there's been gross negligence of both, and you all know it, because the arrogance has been such, and misguided beliefs have been such, and zero spiritual knowledge as such. So we can change this. As of right now, have the intention. We hope and we intend that with the understandings and learnings and expansiveness in the 3 E's, that we can become a higher vibrational planet, and we can become well known throughout the planet as sovereign beings of light, as sovereign beings of Source Creator, so that we are self-healers and we are self-knowers and we are self-innovators. Know this, dear lighted ones. You're a multiversal being, so let's be it. And have mature, responsible conversations that allow you to be the very best of you, and allow the emotional body to be the very depths of you. Isn't that what you want? You want to feel again. And why children do such things as self-harm and cutting and drugs? Because they are such high vibrational beings. And sometimes the only way that they can feel and have the closure of the circuit is to cut and harm. Because they're taking on so much dark energy around them. It's the only way for them to express what they're going through. And we need higher vibrational understandings of how our children and how trans and how all of these experiences on our planet are, all vibrational. But it's been pigeonholed in low vibrational beliefs, and they're not getting healed. They're not being seen, people. See them with higher hearts. Write that sentence down. I choose to see every human with a higher heart. It's not your eyes, dear lighted ones. They want to be seen. I see you, I see you, oh, I see you. I would not be me without you. Can you please come and sit with me for a little while? Can you sit with me for a little while? A little while. Can we create a story, just you and I, just you and I? I would like to know you, I would like to know you. And what you see and what you feel, it's important to me. Can we have a story, just you and me? I'd like to know you, I'd like to know you, and feel you, and see you. We are one, we are one. I see you. Come and sit with me for a little while. And we'll sow new gardens of love and light and acceptance. And we will show our children there's better ways. There's going to be better leaders, better gardeners, better stewards, better ambassadors of peace and joy and togetherness. For we all know how healing it is when you sit in front of somebody that just wants to love you. And if you can say anything as a parent, I know this, as I was never told this. And I look my children in the eyes and I feel their hearts and their souls, and I thank God that they chose me to be their mother. And I don't ever care what you want to explore. I just want you to let me love you. Just let me love you. And even if you don't, I'm still going to love you. And if you never want to talk to me or see me because we just can't believe that we're in each other's lives or understand each other, that my door will always be open and I'll just always want to love you. And say to your children and say to yourself as you look in the mirror every day, whatever you're going through, I just want to love you. Because you're important to me. This is Source's love letter to you. Come and sit with me for a little while. Can I just love you? And you soften and you surrender like butter into the Father's hands, into the Mother's heart, and you're forever healed. This is eternal love, dear lighted ones. Just be you. You're the only one that can just be you. And see everybody around you. They're just versions of you. I love you, dear lighted ones. Isn't that lovely? Thank you, dear lighted ones. I love you. You're very special. You're very special, very special. I love you. Thank you for being such a beautiful audience and beautiful co-creators of God. And if you redo our videos, you're always going to get something new because that's multidimensionality. I always do this to my own videos and I think, wow, I didn't even know I said that. And I'll go and make notes for my next class because they're cumulative, right? So all of my videos are cumulative. I usually approach it from a different mental, physical, spiritual. I usually try and tap into different levels. So it's always cumulative. So just know that. So any donations or booking of sessions right now, I have them on for 150, which they're usually 250. So 150 for 90 minutes. And you can just send me the information, whatever. In this, there's a message field in PayPal, and you can just put in the message. Just give me your name that I'm to tap into. Even if you give me a different name, or you're trying to play games or whatever, and if you put in a different name, I'll put in the name of whoever is doing the typing on the computer. That's the energy that I'm tapping into. And so you're going to get whatever information you're going to get. And I won't give back any payments if you're not happy with the session, which I've only had one person not be happy with the session. But that's because she was going through she was diagnosed with some mental illnesses, and she wasn't being properly served with her healing. And she did phone back and apologize after that. And so yeah. PayPal.me/Joanna L. Ross. And I've got 3 books on Barnes & Noble and Amazon, so go look those up. Dance with Creation is my 3rd book, and it's just various channeled messages from the collectives that I deal with. And I'm thanking my beautiful clients that love me so much and have done donations. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. You being with me in this experience, I just love you so much. I just want you to know that Mother, Father, God have angels around you. So please call upon the angels for things that you like, because you give to me, so these angels are there to give to you. Just know that. And I'm sending very special heart thanks to everybody that has been a part of giving back to me, because it's been one of my themes on this planet, is not being given to. That's just part of the thing I had to go through. So I do appreciate when I'm given to, and it does affect me at a very deep level, and I have to process my emotions. So I'm very, very grateful. I'm going through an opening right now, so and receiving the collective's love and the collective's recognition on how I've been hidden for so long by the various people that have veiled and hidden me. And Source has been one of them. Source has been hiding me because I've been doing so much vibrational work on many different realms. And I'm working with also many of the collective behind the scenes as well. I'm working with them in dream time to help them heal, especially with the Children's Collective and with the oceans. So I do a lot vibrationally, so I'm very grateful. So thank you, dear lighted ones. I will see you tomorrow. We love you, we love you, we love you. And I hope you have a beautiful and wonderful day. PayPal.me, big stretch. And we will see you tomorrow. I love you. Bye, everybody. Bye.